What a
Welcome,
beautiful
everybody.
morning. Oh, what a
Welcome.
beautiful
Here we are,
day.
Gianni. At
Oh, what a
recovery, let's talk about it, right?
let's. Glenn, I'm
Let's talk
thinking,
about it.
this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, let's talk about it.
You know what I mean? It's a good thing to talk about things. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's. I know it's our form of communication, and
Yes,
it's we're learning how to do it, but we're
yes,
talking about it, and
yes.
it has a
I,
way of.
I, I never used to talk about it.
I,
No, really, all the time. I mean, the way that I would talk about it before is not talk about it at all. I would stuff it,
yeah,
everything. It would just stuff everything, and it was
yeah. It
not
was like a
good.
big garbage can full of junk.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
once in a while, I would dump it on whoever.
exactly. So we get
Yeah.
the great privilege. Okay, it's a privilege to be able to start to learn to identify with
Yes.
some red flags and some things
Yeah.
that come up along the way that really are destructive. And we're talking about halt, which is hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. And when those things happen, man, I mean, you better watch out because it's trying to take me out. I need to check myself, identify what's going on, and there's ways and means that we learn what to do, how to do it, and like you were saying earlier, right? I mean, sometimes the first thing is just stop. Don't do anything for just a moment.
Yeah. What, let me ask you this. Why do we have to do, why do you have to do anything? That's the, for me to understand that when things weren't going my way and I got really upset, I didn't understand. I'm able to go ahead and just sit down, just sit for a second, just slow down. Emotional immaturity.
Yeah,
I was very emotional. I was immature and emotionally very emotionally immature. Emotionally immature. It doesn't matter. It's still the same darn thing. And
yeah,
it made the consequences were very catastrophic. Sometimes
yeah.
jobs were lost, relationships were sabotaged. Just like,
Yep.
yeah, so it was pretty bad.
No. And listen, I mean, and a lot of us in our audience, we know that you guys can agree that solving problems, learning how to get through these issues.
Hmm.
A lot of us never even were taught or learned or knew how to get through any of them. And
Yeah.
so, you know, we learn that really the tendency is to isolate, to shut down. And because I feel I feel this hungry, angry, lonely, tired, and I don't know what to do. But really, if I've hung around the rooms for a few 24 hours, I do understand that there's some things that are involved. And we're going to talk about those few things that are super
Right.
vital and very important. So,
Let,
uh,
let me just let me just tap on this real quick before we go. So people were trying to teach me when I was younger. I just wasn't open minded. I didn't want to hear what you had to say because I thought that I was not smart because like you're telling me these things. What am I, dumb? I know what to do, but I really didn't know what to do. And so the beatings were bad, so bad that desperation is a motivator that I had to change my bad thinking. And once you come to agreements with that, then you start to realize, holy crap, what the heck have I been doing? So yeah,
I need
uh,
some help.
I need some help, man.
Yeah. And that's in the 12 steps
Yes.
through sponsorship.
Mm-hmm.
And we do learn. We're teachable. We're willing and teachable today.
Open
Johnny,
minded, open
open minded.
minded, open minded.
Open
Yeah,
minded.
yeah.
So, with all that said, we like to invite a guest on each time we do a podcast. We want to invite a guest on. His name is Donald, a great brother of mine in Christ. He is going to share his take on what he believes and thinks and knows. So let's welcome Donald to the show.
Donald,
There he
Hey there.
is.
How's it
welcome
going?
Well,
to our show.
welcome, sir. Welcome. So. Uh,
Thank you.
Maybe
Yeah,
as you were listening, you were thinking, I know you were in the green room back there listening and thinking,
Right.
and it really, we were talking about hungry, angry, lonely, tired, and some of the things that, why they were, why they come on the way they do, and really, where they come from and what do we do about it. It is really, it's kind of like, well, what do we do? So if you've learned over the years, I mean, what have you learned as far as what, where it comes from, and what do you do about it when you get these?
Well, I'll tell you, the starting out, Glenn, as you know, I guess 8 years ago when I met you, I was beat up and bruised like all of us that come into recovery, but I was in a bad place and knew nothing, and wanted to. I was at that time at a broken place, and that's when you met me. And I knew nothing about recovery, nothing about how the tools or anything to change my life. So over the journey of the last 8 years, I've learned a lot of things, but also have had ups and downs and failures. But I thank God I've been clean for 8.5 years, but there's a lot of mental stuff and things that happen that can make you hungry, angry, lonely, and tired through the process. And when you said recovery is a process, it is a process. And so in my walk, is the things that y'all have mentioned about sponsorship, accountability, meetings, being honest about where you are. And sometimes in my walk, it's been with you, Glenn, talking to you about calling you up and getting out those things that are troubling. Sometimes I have had a tendency in my walk not to do that like immediately, and I'm learning to get it out on the table. And I think Johnny was saying something about letting things build up inside of you, and that's one of the worst things that can happen, because that begins to break me down or anybody down that's in recovery that I've seen or in my own walk, is letting things build up and not taking action, and being an island to myself and being partially there in recovery. And one of the biggest things for me is always to be honest and open about where I am in my walk, and be willing to receive from my sponsor and other people that are speaking into my life. And right now I am in a stage in my walk, as we talked about my job, about changes that I need to make even presently right now. And, cutting back on certain things in my life walk. And Johnny, you brought it up about just stop. The word stop. That means that spoke to me, because it's and then we talked even before the podcast. I'm changing some things in my life now deliberately. With my health, I'm not healthy right now in the way I want to be. So God's put that on my heart to get healthy, and I've made some steps now to do that, and to be accountable, and to be more accountable, and to have things working in my life, and get where God wants me to be. So that's kind of my first. Even to newcomers that are coming in, is you got to fully commit to the process. The process is a lifelong process, but you got to dive in, commit to it all the way, and it's worth it. And it's worth it, because change takes time, and the Lord shows up, and He begins to change, and it begins to do things in my walk that I didn't have 8 years ago.
Yeah. And so that's great stuff, man. That really is, and a shot of where you're at really in your life personally. But I mean, seriously, the ultimate, and really what we're talking about is relapse. I mean, for guys like us, these are red flags that come up, and really, if we don't take care of these issues, if we don't have the right accountability, if we don't have the right sponsorship, Donald, relapse, we don't go back to the apple juice. We're going back to needles and pipes and things that are very deadly. So it's really a prevention, to identify these things and take action.
Yeah. I have to say that, Donald, I have to tell you that just you saying that out loud, all these things, and recognizing and being open-minded without being defensive, that's what we do. That is huge. That for me, it was huge. But when I'm hearing you talk about all these things that you want to do, and you're recognizing, and you hear what we're saying, and to say it out loud, that's where the growth begins, because you're able to understand, hey, there is a problem. I need to change my behaviors. And then on top of that, I don't have to get, when things are not going my way, I don't have to get like, I have to nurture myself where they say hungry, right? Angry, lonely, tired, the whole 9 yards. And when you start to identify those things, there's something about the soul and the spirit, like when you start to, recognize not to be mean and cruel and not overreact, emotionally immature. And so I just want to say that I applaud you for what you're saying right now. So I receive in that. I mean, I really am.
I just think the first thing that starts out with me, or let me rephrase that, thinking back from recovery from day one to right now, 8.5 years, is when I'm not honest or I'm not giving all out to my sponsor and saying, hey, here, this is where I am, then I'm holding back on what God wants to do in me, and I shut myself down, hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. But when but the freedom comes when all that stuff is out there. Because I remember when I came back to the Lord on October 26, 2014. At that moment, I didn't care what anybody thought or what anybody knew about me. I was a wide open book. I didn't care anymore. I wasn't hiding anymore. It was all the hiding was over, and that was freedom. If someone called, hey, heard you in a halfway house, you're on a drug, I didn't know you're on drugs. That would not bother me at all because I was wide open and free. And so you journey for 8.5 years, and I feel like in my own walk, that same attitude with my accountability partner needs to be the same. That I don't care what they know, they need to know. And that's freedom for me when I do that, and I'm forthright in where I am and where I am in the process. I like what y'all started. I think the name of your group is what, Recovery is a Process.
Covers.
And, it is a process, but it's called Recovery Talk.
Recovery. Let's talk about it. But it is, Donald, right? And we know it's a process, and it is
process.
It's a process.
Yes.
So
it's a marathon, brother, for the rest of your life. And if you can accept that and understand that, like I feel like a piece of metal going in and out of the fire at all times. There's many times that I would call Glenn and I would say certain things and he would throw it on me just to kind of redirect my thinking. And there was times that he would do the same with me, going through what he went through with cancer.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we were able to get through it together through us leaning on each other and God. It's just amazing. Yeah. So I don't have.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So here, check out this clip real quick before we go. It's pretty amazing. It really is the description of what we're talking about. And the simplicity of it all is right there. Should I eat a little something? Like Johnny said, take 5, take a walk. And if you're lonely, get out, call somebody, call the helpline, call your sponsor, and talk to somebody, and somebody that can help you through all that. So, we have little things like that, and that we can look at and know, and those are the truths, and they work, and that's part of the steps.
Yeah, talk to somebody is one of the biggest things. And the reason why is their thinking might be a little healthier than yours, and they'll be able to redirect your thinking to where your foot can be pointed in the right direction.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
there it is.
Really good.
Beautiful. Well, Donald, thank you for coming on, man. Appreciate you coming on this morning.
Yeah,
getting up early with the birds, and
thank you, buddy.
You coming on? We appreciate you.
It was nice to meet you, Donald.
Okay, you too.
Love you, brother.
Love you too.
Much love.
See you, man. So it works for everybody, buddy. You there?
Yeah.
Okay. So it doesn't matter who it is. It's the same behavior, different person. We incorporate these principles in our life, and for some reason, we walk with peace a little bit more than we used to. And me and you have seen where we were and where we're at. You've seen where I was and now where I'm at now. Right. And it's crazy to think that I sit with the uniform that I have on every day, and it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's crazy. Beyond our wildest dreams, Johnny, way beyond anything we could have ever imagined that was possible. The dreams come true. So they're in the steps. it's through that, and it really, some of the other things that we want to talk about is it's the ability. You come in, you're powerless, unmanageable. You start to build a little bit of hope and belief. That I can turn this mess over to God. I can get some help. And obviously, like I said last week and last meeting, when we get to 11, we find that power, but it's a process, like Donald was saying, like we say, to get to that part. And so, what it's like to persevere through all of this and actually apply, because what's the MO? The MO is always the same. I either want to retaliate or run.
Yes.
But to learn how to go forward, to persevere, to take just little steps, in which they come in the suggestions. They come in the form of suggestions by our sponsor and or through accountability of what to do and how to do it.
Yeah.
And we just read it, get something to eat, talk about it, don't isolate, and, basically call somebody. So
call somebody.
How important is that?
I cannot stress how much that is so important in your walk in recovery, because telling you right now, I have watched it. I have seen guys, I've talked to guys over the years, and what happens is they'll talk for a while and some will go away. And the ones that stick around, I have a front row seat to watch exactly what they're, just from where they are to where they're at now. And it's just amazing the way that they talk, the way that their attitude is, the way that they're consistently loving on their family. And because there's someone in their ear, it's a consistent, it's like sharpening the blade. And just like it says in Ephesians 6:13, I think iron sharpens iron. But my point is that when you have someone in your ear, you're not grading your own paper. And I've said this many times before. You're not giving yourself an A. You're not justifying why you're acting that way. And then, so another person would be like, what are you doing? What? No, don't do that. That's not a good idea. But being defensive, once again,
yep.
If you're defensive, you're not going to be open-minded. So when I am hungry, I have to make sure that I maintain that. Okay, I have to eat through the day because I will get angry.
Yeah,
it's crazy how I won't eat for like 4, 5, 6, 7 hours, through the day, just going, and then I act out like a meatball. So,
yeah. And really, you're supposed to be eating the meatball, and you act like a meatball. So, I mean, come on, you gotta know the difference there.
No, really. Yeah.
But no, it does. It gets crazy. I mean, and life can get crazy, and pressure.
Yeah.
That's
why I ate before I came on the show.
Boom.
Okay. And another thing is, I'm 57 years old, and I still have a hard time. Listen, I'm telling you guys, I have a hard time sitting still, and I'm 57. Can you imagine when I was 21?
Yeah.
You couldn't duct tape me to the seat. Yeah.
Well, Johnny, what is it, man? We're not building skyscrapers, man.
No,
we are not architects.
No.
It's not rocket science.
No.
It's just the 12 steps.
Yeah.
I mean, what does it take for a person to humble himself and say, I need help? Somebody, I'm so willing at this point, please teach me a new way. And then they said, well, the only thing that has to change when you get here, guess what it was? Everything.
Yeah, it is.
So one thing at a time.
That's the whole point of it, guys. Let me tell you something. It's a process. It takes time. It takes a lot of time. It takes many years of digesting these behaviors, these better behaviors in your life. And so when we are hungry, angry, lonely, and tired, we are not open-minded to any suggestion. And if we're like that, I guarantee you we're going to make some catastrophic bad decisions when I can just sit down and make a phone call, or sit down and pray, or just kind of, all right, everything's okay. It's not good. I don't like it the way it is right now. It just let me just
Yeah.
sit here for a second, and then I got, recharge my batteries, and then I'll maybe make a phone call and have someone redirect my thinking.
That's
And
right.
eat
Yeah.
something while you're doing it.
No,
Okay.
I mean, hey, it's been said that it's not necessarily a behavioral modification.
Right.
It's really about the heart, and really that comes down to love, and that's my identity and my value and my purpose. We get that eventually, but the
Yes.
behaviors initially,
Wow.
we learn that we can change, that we can start to identify, and even after we get it wrong, we know instinctively, because we've been going to meetings, we've been listening to our sponsor, we're working through the steps, we have a solution that
Mm.
can help the behaviors change. We apply principles which are biblical in nature, we apply them to our lives, we get honest, we get open, we become willing to learn and listen and apply different methods, because we know what I was doing is not work. It wasn't working. The evidence was true in my
Yeah.
life. It was unmanageable and a mess. So I let somebody teach me, and I learned that I can start to begin to apply these to my life. I learned to persevere and apply. And like we were saying, how grateful for our predecessors, Johnny, our sponsors, predecessors, those that have went ahead of us, that are willing, like you said, you see in others, the idea is that I have a passion and a desire
Yes.
to help. I want to help the best I can, to see somebody else, because I understand the suffering. And so that's why it's important to bring somebody through the 12 steps, at least give them a shot at being able to learn, to start and finish something, and begin to learn to come to the knowledge of the truth, and then make a decision for themselves.
Yes.
That's the good news, brother.
I believe in a heartbeat that when I bring someone through the steps, or when I am helping someone else, they're actually helping me more
Oh,
than I'm helping them.
you gave
I
away the secret.
I know, man, but I'm
You
just telling
gave
you.
away
You know,
the secret.
I had one of my sponsees call me yesterday, and this is what he said to me. I'm just crazy. He goes, "Hey," he goes, he's in college, and he said, I got a lot going on, and this guy called, and I don't have a lot of time for him. And I started saying, listen, I really don't have any time for you right now. Could you call me back later? And he's like, hello, what? I said, do you realize what you just said? And
Wow.
it hit him. I said, you have to understand that when you talk to these guys, you're talking to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. You
that's
can't keep what
why,
you have unless you give it
no, man.
away.
And I know we're going a little off track here because
Yeah.
our theme is, halt, but that's what it all comes down to, that because when I get frustrated and angry and lonely and tired, I say these kind of things. And I have said those kind of things to you years ago because
Yeah.
I'm selfish and self-centered.
Yeah. Yeah. In the end, it really does come down to, Johnny, I think the sun, the moon, the planets, you know what I mean? The stars, they all revolve around one
Yeah.
person. That's me.
Yeah.
They revolve around me, right? In the
You,
beginning.
you
That's what it's
gotta
like.
gotta keep it simple.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
see this, see, most people buy $20 coffee cups, right? This is my grandson's cup right here. This is like 5 years ago. This is like $1. You like that? That's
I
keeping
like
it
it.
simple.
Simple. Yeah. Yeah.
I can't
So,
go to any coffee cups, any other ones. That's it right
yeah.
there. Keep it simple.
I know we're talking about some serious stuff, and it is
Yeah,
real, and but it is simple. We got to keep it simple. It's really not, like we said, it's funny. It's not rocket science. It ain't any of that stuff. It really is
yeah,
just a matter of suiting up and
yeah,
showing up,
yeah,
paying attention, following a few suggestions, and life begins to get better.
yeah,
It takes a little bit of time, but it does get better, and we're
yeah,
living proof, you and
yeah,
I, because the detriment is that the relapse for most people, like I said earlier, it's one and done. You go back to where you came from, and there's a needle in your arm, and you're dead.
yeah.
And so, you
Yeah.
know, we want to try to prevent that. We want to try to prevent that. And the big thing is understanding that this hangry, we call it really, but it's hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Those are red flags. There's a propensity to want to go back, isolate. I want to go back to my old behaviors. I just don't realize that that's happening. And I'm frustrated that it's happening. But if I don't do something about it, if I don't make that call or go to that meeting, you know, I am one step closer. So what it's like to persevere and endure through all those things, Johnny, man, it's satisfying, really. Ultimately, doing the right thing, calling a sponsor, going to a meeting. There's something so gratifying in it. It's amazing. We leave changed. We go to the meeting and we leave changed.
Yeah. Well, that when you go to those meetings, that's the war room, because when it comes down to it, for 1 hour there, you're training for battle, because out here in the real world, when it comes down to, you know, alcohol, drugs, you know, your addiction, jails, institutions, or death.
Yeah.
That's it. So we learn how to behave when things push us back on our heels. It's all about how to respond instead of how to react with hate and resentment and anger and all these different things that are not healthy for our decision making. It's consistent, whatever it is. That's why I always say, guys, if you're listening right now and you're mad, you're angry, whatever it is, just sit down and start to establish healthy relationships in the meetings. There's church groups out there that have good groups that, you know, you can get involved in, but you have to engage.
Yeah.
You have to engage. If you don't engage, you're going to be by yourself.
Yeah.
So learning how to play well with others. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Learning to play well with others. Well, we're coming up on the end, Johnny, and
yeah, buddy.
It's that fast. You know, we'd like to talk for hours, but really the attention span is short for most of us, including myself.
Yeah.
So, but stay tuned. And I mean, like the video, go to @recovery. Let's talk about it. 444. Like the video, subscribe. And it looks something like this. It's pretty simple. You know, we want to thank everybody for watching, but please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and your comments. Man, we want to hear what everybody has to say.
Good or
Very
bad?
important. Good or bad, Johnny? Yeah, let's hear it, and we want to talk about it.
If you want to blast us, it's okay. It makes us better. So we're out. The reason why we're doing this is not to fix anybody. We're out there to just give love and realize, hey, you're not alone. Yeah. And we go through the fire a lot every day. So we're just learning how to do this with love, everything that we do in our life, to enjoy our life. You know, you don't know if you have tomorrow, brother.
That's right. That's right. So we learn eventually what it is to, you know, to gain the whole world and lose our soul in the end. It kind of sucks. So we find a God that's big and mighty and powerful. In step 11, it really is. It's amazing to gain all this power back, and really our souls revived, new lives, dreams come true. It's all so real. We're evidence of it, Johnny. I want to thank you, and man, always much love, my brother, and to the audience. Until next time.
Yeah, brother. I love you.
And we'll see you guys soon.